Welcome, I am Gas, and this is Millennium 7. This is another update about the attack of United States and Israel against Iran. When I saw this for the first time, I confess I gave it no particular thought. This seemed to me a damaged ballistic missile warhead shedding debris. But then I saw this, and this, and this. I have to admit, I was wrong. And while I was pondering my inanity, then I saw this. What the fuck? We start having a number of videos showing Iranian missiles shedding something while they fall. These missiles seem to be quite slow, which is what made me think to a tumbling re-entry vehicle falling out of control in the first place. But then the missile sheds something. The geometric pattern of the deployment and the fact that the debris are always well separated from the main body is telling us that this is most likely a form of cluster warhead. In all the videos there is a main thing that sends out these other things that separate and they proceed downwards, while the main thing slows down and starts trailing. This is bizarre. This is even more bizarre than the very bizarre thing that I'm going to show you at the end of this video, so stay tuned. It seems that the defenses do not engage these very slow re-entry vehicles, and this might happen because, being so slow, they are identified as a falling missile stage or out-of-control re-entry vehicle. It seems that this type of warhead is designed to slow down at the atmospheric re-entry, which is something that normally you don't want in a ballistic missile, and then release the submunitions, if they are such, at a relatively low altitude, which is again something that you generally don't want. It also seems to me that it has been used only above Israel, but it could well be because these are the only videos that we have. We have no images or descriptions of the impact, so it is quite difficult to tell what they really are. Well, to be honest, we have this video. If these are submunitions, well, they make quite a large boom. However, I am not really sure that these are indeed the submunitions, and to be honest, I'm not even sure that this video is true, because there would be news about such a severe pounding. So take it with a massive pinch of salt. Another possibility is that these are decoys, but the main vehicle is not engaged by the defenses, and anyway, where would be the main warhead? The re-entry vehicle seems to really tumble away. They could also be non-kinetic munitions, each one carrying an EMP device or a jammer to damage or blind the electronics in the area. However, we have no indication, no trace, no witness of anything like this even happening. If eventually they turned out to be cluster munition, this is raising a few other issues, because obviously this is an area saturation weapon, and every missile releases about 20 submunitions to do so. And since there are not that many, you would expect them to be, well, relatively big to have some effect. I don't know, maybe each one should be carrying between 50 and 100 kilos of explosive. if you add the casing and eventually some form of inertial guidance to make them go straight, then this would pose quite a challenge for the missile payload. You would probably need a relatively large missile, which means it is a missile that is expensive and resource intensive to build, which means that serial production could be slow, and well, you know where I'm going. To be honest, with this flurry of activity, there was no time to start making some calculations and some educated guesses, but this is something that I'm planning to go back to when there will be more time. So a weapon like this could be useful to attack aircraft parked in the open, but also light infrastructures like oil refineries, port loading and unloading facilities, or railway nodes. However, it is quite an expensive way to deliver a payload that could be equivalent to, maybe a couple of aircraft, tops, or maybe a dozen of loitering munitions. If I said so, you would argue that this is probably the only way for Iran to do so, and you would be right. This is a form of asymmetric air power. So this is an extremely interesting development and something we never saw before. There are missiles with cluster warheads, but these are artillery rockets or tactical missiles, and generally they carry a lot of tiny bomblets. These are medium-range ballistic missiles because, well, they can reach Israel, and no, this is not like the Areshnik. The Areshnik uses kinetic energy, and it has a totally different mission profile. I am very interested into this, so if you have any more information, please let me know in the comments below. This is it for the cluster missiles, but before leaving there is something else which is very bizarre as well that I want to show you. This is a re-entry vehicle that shoots a rocket-assisted terminal munition. Its purpose most likely is to fool terminal anti-ballistic defenses. In fact, we have seen that the Patriots tend to shoot very late at the incoming missiles, and such a separation would destroy pretty much every targeting solution. Quite clever, I have to say. If you have other images or information about this type of warhead, please let me know in the comments below. So, this is it. I am constantly fighting the algorithm. So please, if you appreciated what you have seen, like, subscribe, leave a comment and hit the bell. This is helping immensely. And eventually, you can buy some merchandising if you like it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.